Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Oh, how have you been? Oh, it's been a minute. Yes, I was off for a little while. So how have you been? How is everyone? Um, please do let me know once you join me this beautiful day. Yes, I've been away for a couple of weeks. Yeah, or 2 weeks, I think. Okay, 3 weeks because the 3 weeks ago, I tried a new platform. I tried to use StreamYard to do the live session, and obviously, I didn't get it right because nobody could see the live sessions. Let me just confirm that I am being heard. Just 1 minute. Let me be sure that I'm being heard. Yeah, okay. I think I'm being heard. I hope. Yeah. All right. I think I'm being heard. Okay, so yes, I've confirmed I'm being heard. So welcome to Growth Habits with Ngozi. Remember that I'm your personal guide on this journey of growth. As I said, we took a break about 3 weeks ago. We decided to try a new platform to broadcast these our sessions, and we didn't quite get things right. So nobody saw the recording. Nobody saw that session. It's just somewhere. I don't know where it is right now, but nobody saw it. So the next week we were supposed to come back here and redo the session, but life happens, as they say. Last week also I wasn't able to be here. So today here I am. But I'm surprised that people did not look for me. I was very surprised. Nobody asked, "Oh, what happened?" No growth habits, except few people that I know that asked me. But anyway, welcome. As I said, welcome. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on which part of the world you are joining me from today. Please do let me know when you join. Let me know that you are here. Let me know where you're joining me from. Yes, we started a session on growth habits that we called conversations, and it's supposed to be quite a long session, and it's basically talking about conversations, just like the name says. And we decided to start the conversations by talking about leadership. And the first series of this sessions that we did, we talked about leadership, we talked about leadership styles. And today we want to talk about communication in leadership. But can I do this quick recap? I think so. Let me do a recap of what we have covered so far in these conversations, the leading edge, talking about leadership. The first session in this whole series, we talked about what is leadership, and is the act of guiding a team or an individual to achieve certain goals. And you do this through directing them, through motivating them. That is leadership. And that was what we talked about. And we said that leaders encourage others to take action. Okay, can see today is good. I'm seeing when people join. For some time I've not been able to see when people join. So welcome, okay, Mogu, Gloria, Obioma, Uchefuna, Angel Felicity, and Uzo Okoli. So welcome. I'm so glad that you joined me today. Um, I was giving a recap of what we have done in this series of conversations on the leading edge. And we defined leadership and some of the qualities of an effective leader that we talked about as flexibility, empathy, decisiveness, communication. These were the things that we talked about in our first session. We also, discussed how you can become an effective leader. Find a mentor if you need it. Do research. Practice leading. You can practice leading with a small group, your children, or something of that nature. Practice leading. Identify what is your own leadership style, because that will truly help you. Then ask for feedback. Ask people to judge, in quotes, you, and tell you how how you're leading. So ask for feedback. In our next session, we began to talk about the different leadership styles. It's telling me my connection is slow. I don't know what happened, but let's go on. Okay, so we talked about the different leadership styles, and this took us 2 sessions because there were 11 leadership styles. And like I said that time, before when in those days when we went to school, we just know like 3 or 4 leadership styles, but things have changed, and there are 11 leadership styles. Like I said, please, if you join, let me know that you're here. Let me know where you're joining from. We have the democratic leadership style, autocratic leadership style, laissez-faire. These are leadership styles. These are the styles we knew way back when, when we were in school. Then we have strategic leadership, transformational leadership, transactional leadership, coaching leadership, bureaucratic leadership, visionary leadership style, pace setting leadership style, situational leadership style. And we made the point that there is no one style that is all good, and there is no one style that is all bad. We have some styles that are good. We have some good aspects of just about all the leadership styles. There are situations that require for you to use those leadership styles. We mentioned that, and we said that the best you could do is to change up the style based on the situation. But also remember that you can't change too much. If you're always changing your leadership style, you confuse those you're leading, and that is not the aim. The aim is not to confuse those you are leading. The aim is to lead them and to lead them aright. Okay. All right. Welcome, Kelechi. Good afternoon, Felicity. My apologies. All right. Sorry, some call was coming in. Okay, so all right. Okay, welcome Kelechi, welcome Ozo. Good afternoon, Felicity. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Good afternoon, Kelechi. Thank you for joining me. So as I said, we agreed and we saw, not just that we saw it, that there is no one style that is truly just the best in every way. You should be able to adjust the way you lead based on the situation, the people you are leading. And I also said that you can't just be changing up your leadership style anyhow. No, there has to be you have to, yes, it will change up, but if you do it too much, it becomes a problem because you confuse those that you are leading. All right, so I said it's best to find out your own leadership style and apply in leading people. I think that is basically what we talked about in the past sessions. That was basically what we talked about. So, all right, we're going to move on to today's session, which we are going to talk about communication skills in leadership. Communication skills in leadership. And one thing that I want to say right from the beginning is communication is key in anything, in relationship, in dealing with people, in leadership, in everything. Communication is key. Communication is very important. Welcome, Ike Omuchuloba. I'm glad I saw Omuchuloba. Oh my goodness. Ike Uche. Omuchuloba is in my head. Ike Uche, welcome. I'm so glad you joined us this afternoon. So I was saying that communication is very key in anything that we are doing, in our relationships, in work, in life generally. We must be able to communicate, and we must be able to communicate clearly. It's not enough that we just communicate. We must communicate clearly, and we must ensure that whoever we are communicating to understands. Because if the person we are communicating to does not understand, communication has not happened. You have just spoken. You have just made some noise. The opposite of communication really is noise. If you speak to someone and the person does not grab or grasp what you're saying, you have made noise. You have not communicated. That this expression I talked about here helped me a lot because the thought of me making noise when I'm trying to get across information to somebody, that thought sets me off and I ensure that I'm understood. So I had to learn, teach myself basically how to communicate even complex principles, complex processes in such a way that a child would understand it. That is when you have communicated. Because truly, if the person you're communicating to did not get what you're saying, you have just made noise. So it's an essential skill for life. It's not just in leadership, it is an essential skill for life, able to communicate and to communicate effectively. So effective communication, like I said, is a very key leadership skill. Very, very important. And it helps you as the leader to share your vision, to share your goals, the things you want to achieve, your objectives. It helps you to share it. And in sharing it, you also inspire others to follow you to achieve those goals, to achieve that vision, to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. So it's very important that you effectively communicate as a leader. As a person, remember, then by extension, as a leader, it's so key that you communicate and that you communicate clearly. Then another part of communication that we don't, when we talk about communication, most times we don't even consider the aspect of feedback. You've said what you have to say, and the person heard you and understood you. But you need them to talk back to you, you need them to tell you something based on what they heard. So you do need feedback. There's something that I do personally. Now, this is me, or not on the side of the leader, what I'm about to say, but on the side of the person being led. When the years I was working, when my boss gives me an instruction, I ensure I repeat that instruction back to him or her, whoever happens to be my boss at the moment. I ensure I repeat the instruction back. One, it helps me make sure that I understood well. Then two, it gives my leader the feedback he needs to know that yes, he communicated effectively. So always seek for feedback. It is a key part of communication. Is very, very important. Is a very important part of communication. Getting feedback from whomever you have communicated to. So let me talk about some essential skills or some skills there that are expected of a leader that communicates effectively. Number one is active listening. Now, we're talking about communication, and when we talk about communication, generally we look at it as you saying something. That is usually how we see communication: is you saying something, passing across, excuse me, information to someone, being able to say whatever and have the person understand what you're saying. But a key skill in communication is active listening. Active listening. Being able to listen, observe, and understand verbal, silent cues. Yes, it's two ways. You need to be able to be a good active listener for you to communicate effectively. Because in active listening, you pay attention to what people are saying, and when you pay attention to what people are saying, you get cues as to how the person understands things. You get cues as to what the person really wants to hear. You get cues as to what the person needs to hear, and then you can communicate better. Many of us, even those of us that say we are good listeners, we are not active listeners. We listen to people, yes, but we are not listening um, to pay attention. I don't know if that even makes sense, but many a times we listen to get our next response. We listen to people just to know what to say next. That is not active listening. Active listening is paying attention to what the person is saying, verbally and otherwise. You know that a lot of times people pass across more information non-verbally than they do verbally. The things that they communicate with their body language, the things that they communicate with their eyes, the things they communicate, they are even more than what the person actually says with their lips or with their mouth. So to be an active listener, you have to not just pay attention to what people are saying, how they are saying it, but their body language when they said it. That is what active listening is all about. It's about listening without judging. It's about listening without what's the word I'm looking for now? Oh, okay, welcome, okay, Odunze. Oh, yes, so success communication is mostly about 90% nonverbal. Yes. So it's about listening to what people are saying. Yes. It's about listening without judging what they are saying. This is hard. See, this not judging while the person is speaking. Very hard, but very important. Listen objectively so they can truly get what the person is saying. This truly is a key part of communication. If you can get active listening down and grasp it, and you're able to practice it, when you communicate to people, you communicate, more deeply. That if you can understand what I'm saying, you communicate better with them. You're more effective. You hit the nail on the head. You say what they will hear or what they need to hear because you listened actively. Thank you, ma. Welcome, Pastor Favor, Siri Wisdom. Thank you, ma. Yeah, you start looking beautiful, so I'm blushing. Thank you very much, ma. All right, so active listening is the ability to pay attention to what someone is saying without interrupting, without judging, without jumping to conclusions. If you can do this, honestly, your communication skills will go from 0 to at least 80 because you have gotten the major part of it down. Like I said, when you're able to listen to people effectively, you're an active listener, you can now frame what you want to say better because you have listened, you have seen what the needs of this person are or these people that you're trying to communicate to. So you can truly communicate better. You can truly pass across your own information you want to pass across, your own goals, your vision, whatever it is you want to pass across. You can now do it better because you understand your audience. You've listened actively to them and you understand them. Now, I talked about nonverbal communication, and this now is both for you and for those that you are trying to communicate to. Now, as I'm talking, you can see that my hands are not staying still. I'm somebody that I don't know how to talk without gesticulating. And many times, the gestures that we do with our hands, with our body, the stance of our body, they speak louder than the actual words that come out of our lips. So we need to learn the act of understanding what these gestures mean. If you're going to be an effective leader, you have to understand that when somebody is talking to you and they're not looking you in the eye, what it means. You need to understand when somebody is talking to you and throughout the whole conversation, they're like this, what it means. What does it mean? Or like me, when I'm talking to you throughout the whole conversation, my hands are moving, I'm doing one sign or the other. What does it mean? Because you see, all those things mean something. They mean something. And if you're able to understand that someone is talking to you or you're talking to someone, they can't maintain eye contact, is it that the person is very shy, very reserved, or shifty? You see? It could be any of those. Or the person is not comfortable with you. The person is not comfortable in your presence. So when you're able to read these cues, for example, let's take the example of the person that can't look you in the face and they are not looking and you looked at it and maybe you studied the person and you realize that they're shy. That's why they can't look you in the face. You find how to make them comfortable. You find how to relate with them so that they can be free. Or if the person is not comfortable with you at all, it's not shyness, it's just that they're not comfortable. They could be scared of you. It could mean that you're being very autocratic and you need to adjust. So, this is why it's important as a leader to understand non-verbal communication. Truly, actions in this sense speak louder than words. Speak louder than words. So learn how to. There are books on this. You can search on the internet. It's not a strange thing. It's not a hidden thing. You can search on the internet and find out what gestures mean, what body stance. There's a way I will stand if I'm talking to you. I'm standing, and it's because I'm on the defense. I know you're about to hit me with something. I'm ready for you. The way I am standing will show you that. If you know what those cues mean. Like I said, I'm talking to someone, and throughout the whole discussion, they have their hand folded. That already is the stance of, I can't hear what you're saying. This thing you're saying is bouncing off of me. I really don't get what you're saying. I don't even want to get what you're saying. That is already just this alone is. So you see, that's why I say this is on both sides, because you that is also communicating with someone, be careful that you don't talk to someone the whole time your hand is like this. We think it means nothing many times. It's just a way to keep your hand. But why couldn't you keep your hand like this? There is a reason why you instinctively put your hand in this stance. And it's because whether consciously or unconsciously, you're already defending yourself from whatever it is that person is going to say. You're already on the defensive. You're not sure you want to receive this information this person is giving out. That is one. Then you also that's communicating, like I said, this is on both ways. You that is communicating, you that's receiving. And the whole time somebody is talking to you, you can't look in their face. Why? Okay, Musa says, but sometimes looking people in the face can be a sign of disrespect in some cultures, and it's difficult for some people to change. How do you go about changing it? See, it's not automatic. Yes, in our where we come from, in the part of the world where we are from, if you look your elder in the face, they feel like you're being disrespectful. That is true. But that is if you stare. If you look into their eye and you keep looking, and you keep looking, that is what we generally see as disrespect. It's not that, I glance at you and remove my eye. So now, if you're from a culture like that, and then you move to a place like, let's say, America, and when somebody's talking to you and you look away, seen as being shifty, as you're being dishonest, you just have to work on it. There is no magic wand. There is no magic wand that somebody will, do abracadabra and you understand. No. So it's for you to begin to understand that this is what this means in this culture, and then adjust. Even in the Nigerian space, even in the Nigerian space, in the business world, you have to be able to look people in the eye. You can't be a true captain of industry, and when people are talking, you're looking away. No, to be able to look people in the face. You see, remember that we are generally talking about this from the position of leadership, the leading edge. Not, I'm just giving examples also from the other side, but basically, our focus is on leadership. You can't truly be a captain of industry. You can't come into a situation where MDs of companies are, where leaders, managers are, and you are not looking people in the face, no, you will not be taken serious. You will not be taken serious. So it's work. It's work that you have to do. There's just no two ways about it. Learn to look people in the face. Learn to look people in the face. Um, I don't even know how else to say it, but learn to look people in the face. Like I said, you must not stare. You don't have to have a staring competition with the person. You don't have to. That, of course, is even disrespectful in any culture. But look at the person's face so that you can observe whether they're even taking in what you're saying. That is the aim. So to change it, just begin to do it. Learn that this is something that has to be done, and begin, small, small. It's not one day you learn how to look people in the face. No, you do it small, small. I had to learn how to not look people in the face because I grew up when I was young. I grew up being taught that you look people in the face, only to come to back to where when you look people in the face, it's a sign of disrespect. So I had to adjust. So I don't stare people down, but I look you in the face nonetheless. No matter how much my elder is you are, I have to look at you so that even with that thing you're telling me, let me know. Let me know. Um, I think the Bible says that the window to the soul is the eye, right? That is it. I need to see so that I know whether you're being honest with me or not. We can, will I say, fake a lot of things, but generally, when you look into someone's eyes, you can tell the real happenings. Generally, there are some people that have mastered the act of also, I don't even know how they do that. For example, you're talking to someone, they're sounding so cheery, so happy, but you look into their eyes and you see sadness. I don't know if you have experienced that. If you didn't look in their face, how would you have noticed that? You wouldn't have. So, it's very essential. It's an essential skill to learn non-verbal communication, especially for leaders. Especially for leaders. Because for you to lead people, you have to be able to understand where they are at that point in time they are talking to you. As a leader, for example, you come to work and you're talking to your subordinate, and the person you're talking to is having some kind of challenge at home, and you didn't look at their face, so you couldn't even figure that out. And you're just issuing instructions and just giving the person, this is what you should do, this is what you should do. The tendency is for that person to, not meet up. And you won't know why they're not meeting up. Maybe you begin to query them, begin to ask questions and begin to discipline them when all they needed was just maybe someone to even listen to what is happening in their lives. But because you don't know how to read non-verbal communication, you didn't notice. So you can see that is very, very key, because truly you can get to the heart of most people's issues from their body language, from how they catch their face, from how their eyes are, from the way they stood when they were talking, from the way they kept their hands. There's a lot of information you can get from there, and it will help you to lead people better. It will help you 110 times, 110%. Okay, welcome, Nandi Wabunike. I'm glad you joined me this afternoon. I hope my voice is clear. I really hope it's clear. I'm trying out a new microphone, so I want to be sure that um, I can be heard clearly. Then another thing about communication is clarity. Clarity in communication, expressing your thoughts, expressing that vision that you have in your head in a clear, concise, and easy to understand manner. Clear, concise, easy to understand. especially as a leader. But of course, every other person should be able to express themselves in a clear, in a concise, and easy to understand manner. When we talk about clarity of communication, we think that when we are verbose, that's when we use big grammar to talk to people. That makes us, it doesn't make you anything except, puffed up. Welcome, Sir Paul. Paul there, the welcomes. I'm so glad you joined me this afternoon. Welcome. It doesn't really, okay, there's one, I think he's a senator or something in Nigeria. I can't remember his name. I think Patrick something, something. And he speaks in this big jargon. Yes. He just uses, I cannot understand what the man is saying. So I don't know how he thinks he's communicating. Maybe he's doing his own, just to be known as the person that always uses big grammar. But as long as whoever you are communicating to does not understand you, you are making noise. You're making noise. There is no communication there. You're just making noise. So learn how to speak to people, learn how to express your thoughts. It's not Chris Okotie, it's somebody, Patrick something. I can't remember the name now. Maybe if I search later, I'll find it. Um, Learn how to speak to people, especially as a leader, in simple, clear, memorable, concise, and easy to understand manner. You must not use, for example, I'm an accountant and I want to talk to non accountants. I don't have to use accounting jargon. I can get across my information without using accounting jargon. I can get get ready for Women's Day. Hey, Master. Sir, okay, I've heard you, sir. So you must learn how to speak to people in a way they can understand. Remember that if I am passing across information to you and you don't understand it, I have made noise. I did not communicate. I just made noise. Okay, so please, clarity is very key in Kelechi. Join me and laugh this laugh. Yes. Yes, clarity is very key. Very key. Okay, I'm just checking time. Very key. You don't have to confuse people with what you're saying. See, because you use big grammar does not increase your intelligence or your appearance of intelligence. Truly, when I hear, for me personally, now this is not a personal opinion, when I hear people who, in the process of speaking, they use such big grammar, such jargon, honestly, for me, it shows me that you yourself, you're not even confident. You're not even confident. Because if you're confident in your abilities, confident in your intelligence, confidence in, whatever word again you want to use, you would break down what you're saying for people to understand. You would break it down. Because once again, if you are communicating with me and I don't understand it, you have made noise. You have not communicated, you just made noise. So we must learn to speak in clear, concise, and easy to understand manner. I've said this severally, and it is a guide for me. Yes, it causes confusion instead of communication. Is a guide for me. Whatever complex principle, the way to show that you understand a complex principle, this is even proven fact according to the professionals and the people that know. For you to show that you understand a complex principle, you have to be able to explain it to a 3 to 5 year old and they will understand it. Have you seen? So it's not the jargon, it's not the big English, it's not the grammar. You can imagine being able to explain complex principles, complex processes to a 3 to 5 year old. One, for you to do that, you've understood that thing yourself. You have grasped all the aspects of that principle. Otherwise, you won't be able to explain it to a 3 to 5 year old. Have you tried to, maybe your child or your cousin or any child asks you a question, what is rain or why does the sun shine? Have you tried explaining that thing to them? I don't know if we have attempted it. You will see that it's not an easy thing. Even something that you understand, you know what it means. Then a child comes up to you and asks for an explanation of that thing. Have you seen how difficult it is to explain these things to them? So the best way to know that you understand the principle, that you grasp this thing, is to be able to explain it to a 3 to 5 year old. And that is how to judge your communication. If you're able to pass across this vision you have, if you're able to pass across this idea that you have in a way that a 3 to 5 year old will understand, you have communicated, and you have communicated effectively. You have communicated effectively. The aim of communication is never to confuse. Never. It is truly for the person to understand. It's truly for the person to say, oh, yes, I know what you're saying. See, this is why a lot of captains of industries, a lot of CEOs, especially one man company CEOs, this is why have they don't have what they call it. They are not able to sustain their businesses because they are not able to carry anybody along. They're not able to carry anybody along because they've not passed across their vision properly in a way that people will understand. Okay, I have a question. Oh, Sir Mooney, I didn't know you are here. Welcome, sir. He says, what is the difference between listening actively and attentively? Okay, now listening attentively is just that, you're paying attention to what the person is saying. So you're hearing the words the person is saying and you're understanding it. But listening actively is one, yes, you're paying attention because you're hearing everything the person is saying. But in paying that attention, one, you're not judging anything the person is saying. Even in listening attentively, you can judge the opinions of the person as they are talking. Okay, I gave an example that when someone is talking, you listen in order to get your next point. That is attentive listening. You're listening attentively, but the aim is just to get the next point you're going to give. The aim of listening with such rapt attention is so that you will get the next comeback. That is an example of listening attentively, to hear and to basically understand everything the person is saying. But when you're listening actively, one, you're not judging anything the person is saying. Two, you're not interrupting for any reason. You're not interrupting, you're not judging, you're not assessing per se. You're listening to get the fullness of the communication the person is passing across. You're listening to their voice, you're listening to the tone of their voice, you're listening to their body language, you're listening to any non-verbal actions all at the same time. That is active listening. But listening attentively, you might not even notice the person's non-verbal actions. You might not even notice it. But you're just paying attention to all their words. That is listening attentively. But active listening, you're listening to the words, you're paying attention to every word they're saying, you're paying attention to their non-verbal communication, you're paying attention to everything they're doing. And you are not listening in order to judge, in order to get your next point. No. You're listening to hear the person out and to understand what the person is trying to say. When we listen attentively, sometimes we really don't understand what the person is trying to say. We understand what the person is saying. There's a difference. We understand what they're saying because we are hearing the words they're saying and we know the meaning of the words they're saying. That is attentive listening. But active listening, you don't just understand the words, you don't just understand the meaning of the words as in sentence definition, you understand the intent as much as possible behind the words. You look at the person's face, like I said, you consider how were they moving when they were talking, how were they standing, how did they sit, how you put all this together. That is what active listening is. I hope I made that clear. I hope I was able to communicate there. I hope I was able to communicate in that instance. So that is what active listening is. And that is the difference between active listening and listening attentively. Okay, so we're talking about clarity. I think I've said quite enough about clarity, being um, concise, being clear, and being speaking in a way that's easy to understand. Okay, I think, mm, okay, that might not be the last. The another thing that is very important in communication, I said it in the beginning, is getting feedback. So it's not just to talk and talk and talk. Get feedback. Get feedback from the people you are speaking to. Find out whether truly they heard you. Find out whether truly they understood what you said. Very, very important and very key. Um, I think let me just handle one more thing, and then that should be it for talking about. All right, talking about communication, and that is transparency in communication. Um, this mm, transparency is basically just being honest, being open to the people you are speaking with. And why I'm bringing this up is because we are talking about leadership, communication skills in leadership. To lead people, you have to be open to them. Yes, constructive feedback. Exactly when we talked about feedback, I also thank you for that. So, transparency in communication is key for leaders. I find this lacking in a lot of leaders I've come across. Um, they hide a lot of information. I'm not saying we should go and share our trade secrets. I'm saying you should go. You should understand that that's another thing about communication, especially from the aspect of leaders. You have to understand what to communicate to who. You must understand what to communicate to who. You don't go to let's say the person, your janitor, the person that cleans your office, and you begin to communicate key accounting, financial information to. It doesn't need it. It truly does not need it. You won't even know what to do with it. So unless maybe that person is just doing the cleaner work out of, I didn't see any other thing to do, and the person has financial background or something. Otherwise, there is really no need to go and share some key financial information with the cleaner. Now, bearing that in mind, you also need to be able to let people know truly how the business is doing, how the company is doing. The people you are leading need to know where you all stand. It's very important. It's very important. I've seen situations where in a company, maybe the company is not able to pay salaries, not able to pay creditors, and nobody can truly explain why. That's the staff of the company cannot truly explain why because they don't know the real situation of the company. They know what their MD or whoever is in charge or the financial controller or the head of admin, whoever has told them, but that is not the whole story. And what's true, one of the things that truly makes you effective is, like I said, the ability to know what information to pass across to who, the ability to know what level of information to make transparent, Because truly, there are some information concerning the runnings of a business, concerning the financial status of a business that shouldn't be open to everybody to know. So that people don't even use it against you, of course, one, but you need to know which one to let people know. And that one that they need to know, let them know it. Let them know it. There is nothing wrong really with the staff knowing that for this month or for this period, the company is passing through some hard times and things will get better. But for now, this is how it is. That is good knowledge for them to have. But in letting them have that information, you also have to make it clear because what happens, I'm being so careful in this talk now because what happens most time is that we judge the health of a company by the life of the MD or CEO or head or whoever. So when we see, for example, the MD seeming to live lavishly, and yet he's telling us that salaries cannot be paid, we cannot. It doesn't agree, and that happens most times because from the beginning, the staff or the people we are leading were not brought in. They did not know the true state of affairs. They did not know how things really are. They did not understand that the company is a different entity from the MD. Yeah, the impression we get most times is that is it not the work we are doing in this company that's fueling the MD's life? It might not be, but you don't know because you never were told. So you're free to assume that people are working and he's eating. I'm sure we understand that expression. So it's very important to be transparent as much as possible with the people you are leading. Let them know the true state of affairs. Let them know the true state of affairs. It is so important. It's so important to be open in sharing information about decisions, about strategies, about the challenges, about the wins of the company. I was having a discussion with somebody recently. She's here, and we were talking about, the fact that you need to increase salary in an office or something. And I said to the person, I see, okay, actually two of them, and they're both here. And I said to them, I said, look, you're seeing possibly invoices that the company is submitting to Shell, to whoever. You're seeing the invoices and you're seeing those figures on those invoices. And you're thinking to yourself, this company is making money. And we are the people making this money for this company. It is us. We are doing the work. So we are making this money. And then you ask for an increase in salary and you're told no, that there's no money. And you can't, you just, I mean, how? How is it possible? We are making I am seeing the invoices. But so you're not seeing the other costs and expenses that have to be made out of the money that comes in from those invoices you saw. You're only seeing the total amount on the invoice. You don't know whether there was any other expenses that had to be made. You don't know whether there are any even hidden costs involved or inside that invoice. You don't know. So that is why sometimes it's good to bring in the people you are leading, bring them into these strategic decisions, bring them into these challenges, bring them into the decisions that the company has to take or the organization or whatever. Bring them in. Remember also, very key that you know who needs to know what. That is very important. But when they have information, they can make more informed decisions. They can make more informed decisions. So, transparency is important in communication, especially from a leader's perspective. Very important. But also in practicing this, we need to ensure that we are not just throwing information out there, because also that's another area of failing. If you're just throwing information out there and is not relevant to the person you're throwing it out to, is waste also. So with that said, I think we've done justice to this topic on communication in leadership. So remember, we said that communication is not just the words. We need to take um, heed to the actions, the non-verbal communication. We need to listen actively to people. Remember, active listening is not just in hearing and understanding the words that are spoken, it's also in understanding the words that are not spoken, the unspoken things, being able to understand the body language, the non-verbal communication that the person is saying, being able to listen to people without judging, without interruptions. Okay. I'm seeing a question. It says, when they have relevant information, it helps the leadership, honestly. It makes it so much easier. I wish a lot more people would understand this. When the people you're leading have relevant information, leadership is easy. It's easier. Let me not say it's easy. It's easier because that stress, even that you're carrying, trying to figure out how, what, they will help you with it. They will help you. When the people you are leading truly know the situation on ground, they really know the status, they themselves will be your greatest cheerleader, one. Two, they will carry it on their head as their own. Two, they will work it out. Then that extra pressure they would have put on you, because they didn't have the information, because they were misinformed, is gone. It's gone. So very important and very helpful when people have the needed information, when they have the relevant. This word you use, Mr. Abune, is so clear, perfect, relevant information. Remember, like I said, don't go telling the cleaner financial information. One, they might not even understand it. Or, like I said, unless the person is an accounting graduate, or even as an accounting graduate sometimes. So we need to know who needs to hear what and make sure we pass it across. There's really no reason, I don't even see the benefits of some of the hide and seek we do with information in some corporations, in some organizations, in some businesses. Let people know it. They will help you out when they know the real situation. They will be your cheerleaders. That does not mean there are not one or two people who will never understand. They exist, but then to a large extent, you would have people that are on your side and will carry your cause to any end. Okay, so thank you all once again for coming out today. Um, we talked about communication in leadership. We talked about nonverbal communication, active listening as an aspect of communication, clarity in communicating whatever it is you want to communicate, simplicity. You must not use all the big grammar. You must not, unless you're writing a technical paper or you're discussing or you're presenting to a technical crowd. Then use all the jargons. Very important, very necessary. But as long as you're just communicating to people in your day-to-day running, the day-to-day business you do, please be clear, please be concise, and please be easy to understand. Make it easy for them to understand. And then always encourage feedback. Encourage people to give you constructive feedback. Do not, you don't know everything. You don't know everything. Even though you happen to be the head, you are the MD, you are the manager, you are the supervisor, whatever, you don't know everything. So encourage feedback. Encourage honest, constructive feedback. Allow people to tell you what you're doing right. Allow people to tell you what you're not doing right. Yes. Okay. Kelechi says thank you. Today's topic was very relatable to me. So I'm happy. I'm happy it was. So allow people to give you feedback. So key. So important. Then be transparent in your communication with those that you are leading. Let them know what is truly happening. The highest thing, like I said, there will always be those few that will not even understand, even though you have explained everything and they are still being funny. They exist, but the generality of the people you lead will be happy that you brought them in, that you shared the strategies and the decisions and the difficulties and the challenges with them. They'll be happy to know that you trusted them enough to put this information in their hand. Okay, so thank you all once again for joining me. I believe that we got some value from the discussion we had today. Um, Next week, Tuesday, I think, can I even see where I wrote that? I think our next topic should be on emotional intelligence in leadership. We've talked about emotional intelligence before generally, but we're going to talk about emotional intelligence in leadership. Then after that, I think decision making in leadership before we move on to um, another aspect of conversation. Um, I will confirm, as we go, we'll see where to stop leadership and move on. That's the leading edge and move on to something else, conversations on something else. Thank you all once again for joining me. It's been my pleasure to share this 1 hour with you. And I don't take it for granted that you join, and I don't take it for granted those that watch the replay. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for always showing up live. Thank you for watching the replay. I am grateful. It is you that makes it possible for me actually to keep doing this. If there's nobody watching the replay, nobody watching the live, what would I be doing here? So thank you all so much. I appreciate you all, and I appreciate your time. I don't take it for granted at all. Remember to follow us on all our social media handles, please. Follow us everywhere. Facebook, of course, we are here, Growth Habits with Ngozi. We have a page, we have a group for Growth Habits with Ngozi on Facebook. We are on Instagram, Growth Habits with Ngozi, TikTok, Growth Habits with Ngozi. We're on which other place? Oh, YouTube. I didn't mention the YouTube. We are YouTube, Growth Habits with Ngozi. So follow us on all our social media handles. Share these live sessions with your friends. Share the link. Let your friends watch. Share our social media handles. Let others benefit. Because if you're gaining anything, if you're getting any value, I'm sure you will want to share that value with as many as possible. Okay. Oh, Mr. Ambune, it's like you have relocated to the UK. I can see it, Mr. Wunde. You've been there for long. Okay. Yes, he said, oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate. And he would definitely hear. He would definitely hear. All right. So thank you all so much for joining me. Oh, thank you, Gunnar, for the stars you sent. Yes, I appreciate. Thank you so much. You see, I don't know if the stars are available in Nigeria now, but I know that for those that are in diaspora, you can send stars to me during my broadcast, or even if you're watching the replay. As you send stars, Facebook will now give me a portion of what you sent. So this is a way for me to also make some small income from these live sessions. So if you join our sessions at any time and you see the option to send stars, so please do send the stars. They will help us. And like I said, tell people about this broadcast. The more people watch it, the more Facebook will begin to monetize and pay some money for it too. So, you're helping me also. And you're also helping whoever you send the link to. All right. Thank you all once again so much for joining me. I appreciate you. See you again next week, Tuesday. Oh, yes, before I go, maybe I'll have to put up a poll after. I wanted to. Some people were saying they want me to change the time, that this afternoon um, is not very convenient. They're in the office, they can't watch. So I'm going to put up a poll to choose a different time, a new time for growth habits. But if we are okay with this 12, we continue with the 12 noon. If the majority select another time, we'll try and move it. I mean, I'm here to serve, so I will adjust to whatever we choose. All right. Thank you all so much once again for joining me. See you next week on Growth Habits with Ngozi right here on Facebook Live. Bye.